Like really what led you into like the niche that you love to do today?
Uh, so to condense it as much as possible. So I'm half Hawaiian, ate like a Hawaiian, gained 60 pounds in my 20s, and had that moment when I knew I needed to get it together
Hmm.
was my favorite store stopped selling my size clothing. And I thought to myself, I'm in my 20s. I need to figure this out. And so did the crash yo-yo dieting, thought that was the way. It destroyed mental health, my relationship with food, with myself. Got sick of that and started to really study nutrition, fell in love with it. I tended to get a lot of people with pretty serious health imbalances or conditions. That's not to say that's all I focus on,
Hmm.
but it tends to be my area of expertise now just because the need is there. So
Hmm.
I started to see a lot of cancer patients and autoimmune. I see hormone imbalance regularly. So that's where Harmonize Her was born, which is I grouped off with a couple health professionals, also part of this community, because we all do Harmonize Her together. But so that's kind of how I got into that area. And I know, Hannah, you've heard this story because we've talked about it so many times, but um, seeing a lot of suffering got to me as an empath. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to take a time out, reground, recenter, get to a space where it's not affecting me so much. 2 months after I took a break, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. So
Hmm.
the universe was like, no, actually, I was preparing you for this. I see that now. At the time, I was throwing my hands up, like, what? But I get it now. And because I was prepared, we knew what to do. So my mom, everybody has to choose what's right for their own healing. I never push anyone one way or the other. That's not up for me to do. My job is to give you as many tools as possible, and I do it through food and mind body connection. My mom chose not to do any conventional treatments. And so I said, okay, then we're going hardcore on your nutrition. If that's your sole medicine, and truly, I do believe food is our first medicine because that's what heals, honestly.
Hmm.
So I mean, and I wouldn't tell just anybody to go on a plant-based diet because not everybody needs to go on a plant-based diet. But for her to get her body alkaline when cancer's acidic, that's what we had to do. Which is kind of laughable because it's a Polynesian family we're talking about. So if that gives anybody hope that people can
Yes.
change, habits can change, and she's been cancer free now for 3 years. That
Beautiful.
is my favorite story of how, and testament as to how food is medicine when done right. So
Yeah.
I will say there were other holistic approaches that we took,
Hmm.
but food was the primary medicine for her.
Yeah.
Where your mind is, that's also your health set point. So if you go on a crash diet, you're not addressing the most important part. That's where the change happens. Because what happens is you're doing the physical, the shell, nothing changes here. So give it, by the way, the average drop off time for a diet is 3 months for this reason. That was never changed. Sure, you lost the weight temporarily, but you didn't change your set point. So that's where you will naturally revert. And that's why weight loss done right and healthy needs to take time because this needs to be changing too. You got to figure out what foods you thrive on. A great way to do that is on your feel good, high energy days, good gut health days, good skin health. You don't have headaches or migraines. That is worth writing down what you ate that day
Hmm.
because something you ate even the day before, it can carry over a couple days. What did I eat that made me feel so damn good? Those are my longevity foods, and I am definitely going to prioritize those more. So it's not a deprivation mentality at all, because with deprivation comes feelings of shame and guilt,
Yeah.
and those will never serve you in your health love story. And
Yes.
it is a love story.
And I want this to be mentioned too, because anytime I speak with a nutritionist, I think it's so important to bring up because finally this is getting a whole lot more attention. This being the attention on eating disorders,
Yeah.
which begins with disordered eating, right? And disordered eating and diets are really, there's something that is just a fine line there that needs to be walked. And and I know that you don't use that word diet, but like this lifestyle thing even too. You have to be so careful. And I'm so glad you're bringing it back to the mindset, because that's really where it's at. What are your motives? What is your purpose? Those things are really important. If it is all very kind of superficially based,
Yes.
that's not probably gonna be a foundation that's gonna hold you for
Nope.
very long. There's got to be some deeper convictions there and purpose there, and
Yeah.
then from there, watch that shame and guilt, right? Because
Yes.
that's going to be the spiral that's going to take you. I'm really passionate about this because I really love health. I love good foods. I love the earth. But I also have this personal relationship and history with foods that has become at times totally mentally unhealthy for me. And I think that is so common for so many people, especially women in our society. So keep talking about that too, because I love that. And then I'll also get to this
You
comment.
hit on something, actually. It's funny because so I have my own business, Eat Clean Be Whole, but I also have a partnership with the Wellness Center, Aspen Valley Wellness Center.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of therapists there, and they'll send clients my way. They're like, hey, they need to eat better for their mental health condition. And I see a lot of people with eating disorders. And side note, I won't take somebody with an eating disorder until there's been some work there, because that's where it started. And I will explain to those clients, because I won't take them until there's been significant amount of work there, right? Because that's where it starts. Then I will guide them. Okay, these are the foods that are going to love you. You can't do a restriction thing, especially if you have an eating disorder in your history. It is more about thriving. And the words that I use is, you need to eat foods that love you back. Food becomes mood, and your relationship with food starts with your relationship with you.
Yes.
It doesn't even start with the foods that I would tell somebody to eat. It's your relationship with you first. Because if that's intact, you will choose foods that love you back. You will reach for those more often. You won't compromise yourself like that as often. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for having a treat meal once a week. And notice I didn't say cheat, because I don't like the psychology behind that word.
Love it.
It is a treat meal, and you're allowed to have it guilt-free. And a little tip for you, if you're going to do that, take digestive enzymes before to offload some of it. Okay. And your family doesn't need to pay for it either, and you plan it in the middle of the day when your metabolism is at its peak around 2 o'clock. So lunchtime, ideally a day you work out, drink a green smoothie before, a really lean dinner full of veggies and lean meat after. It's called balance. And I know that word's like used and abused.
Yeah.
But I'm talking the psychology part of it, not just the nutrition. It balances out too. But if you plan for it that way, the guilt and shame is not going to accompany that treat meal.
Beautiful.
And that's the difference between a cheat meal and a treat meal.
Oh, I'm just taking notes because I'm going to be posting this afterwards. And I love this so much. I love the language. It all matters. How we talk about it is how we feel about it, is how we think about it, is how it affects our bodies, our cells, everything in us. So I love this. Okay, we have a question. I want to come to it.
Yeah.
From Synchronistic Hope. She said, I love this. I'm currently studying to be an herbalist and taking herbal nutrition. Learning how food is really our medicine. I would love to hear any topics of research you would recommend. Love it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that is a loaded question. Do we have enough time? Like I said, I see a lot of people with mental health in their health history. And you know what? I'll be honest, more often than not, 9 times out of 10, when I do a health history on somebody, either depression or anxiety is listed as one of their top concerns. So it's actually rare for me to see somebody without those things. And I say that because people watching need to know they're not alone. It is actually more common than you think. I know a lot of people struggle in silence by themselves, but you are not alone. So that said, knowing when those things are in somebody's health history, it's more than just the nutrition, but there are definitely herbs that can help with certain conditions. St. John's wort for depression is very important. For ADHD, I would actually lean towards the mushroom lion's mane. For anxiety, you get things like ashwagandha when we're talking about herbs. But then you also have neurotransmitters, L-theanine, that is a must for anybody that sees me with anxiety, by the way. Magnesium, mineral. So I could go on and on, but as far as herbs go, those are the big ones that I lean towards for certain conditions.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
so glad this is recorded. I'm coming back to that and just like, that's so helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's unfortunate that we're just so disconnected now from our wild ancestral nature, you know? I was thinking about this because we held a retreat here for women's hormone health just last Saturday. And I'm sitting here listening to, this nurse practitioner, Kelly, she's in our group, who's just so smart, so intelligent, talking all about these different functions of our body. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's so funny how we know so much now from science, from advances in technology. But you go back thousands of years to like our hunter-gatherer ancestors, and like without any of that knowledge of how anything actually is really, scientifically working in our body, they were living in so much more balance and health with the planet, with the earth, with their bodies, with their nutrition. How do we in our current day, I mean, we live in homes that are heated and temperature controlled, and we live in comfort everywhere we go. What are some like good, just like basic tips that we can be living by that are realistic to integrate into our lives, right? Because that's another thing. It's like, don't give me this whole like plan. Like I'm not there yet. Give me the beginner's version.
That is real right there. And it's like you said, it's not that we don't know what to do. And I'll tell clients that too. It's like, you're not here because you don't know what to do. You've heard all the things that I'm going to say, but I'm going to drill deeper. It's that we're being bombarded with information. And what I find is these clients are overwhelmed and don't even know what's what. You can find a contradicting article for everything. So please consider your source. Do your thorough research. And if you have a resource that knows what they're talking about, I would definitely run it by them too. I like to say, I'm studying this every day. I have to. This field is always evolving. So I say I have to, but I love it and I never get sick of it. But yeah, so I would say, you study both sides, and somewhere in the middle, you'll find some truth. That's usually what I find.
Yes.
But you also have to apply it to your unique lifestyle. So for some people, just getting outside for 5 minutes is a lot, but you know what? We have to start with the basics. I wouldn't even give you this big to-do list. A lot of times I'm telling clients, the imbalance happened, the mind-body connects and started. That's really where it starts, right? Because the basics have started to get overlooked. And so this world that we live in now, you nailed it. We are not even close to living the way we are biologically designed to live. These artificial lights, we're breathing in the same stale air, and the quality of that. I mean, these are basic needs. Sleep is like the first thing I find that people will sacrifice, when that is one of the most important parts of your healing and restoring balance. And I'm not just talking physical health, I'm talking mental health.
Yes.
So I will actually, and I call that building the foundation. And I start with the very basics. How's your sleep? Are you getting outside ever? Are you moving your body, even if it's gentle movement and it doesn't even have to, don't call it exercise? Are you drinking enough water? That little thing can hold people back from their weight loss goal, for example, or interfere with a hormone balance or imbalance.
Yeah.
Just by not drinking enough water. So I always start with the very I don't give big lists.
Yeah.
It's like, let's reground you and where your biology wants to be, because this world we live in now, I joke, but not really. It's like the Matrix. Anybody see it? I love Keanu, by the way. Side out there. He's just a cool human being anyway. So anything he puts out, I'll watch. But they say that it's a documentary, and it's so true, because it's such an unrealistic way to live for our biology.
Yes.
So you got to honor and support your biology by just revisiting those basic things. And sometimes I'm so busy between the business, between the partnership, and I'm a mom. So I'll just go outside for 15 minutes barefoot. And now it's about to get cold, and just let the sun touch my skin, breathe in fresh air, let that grass touch my bare feet. And that is so rejuvenating. Just something that simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be big.
It has to be simple, because I sit there and think the same thing all the time. Like, I am in this world. I'm literally surrounded by wellness professionals every day, and I still struggle so much just with the simple things, because I'm a mom, because I'm busy, because I'm working, because I'm got construction going on around my entire house, and I'm in this corner of my house right now that's like, hopefully it's quiet enough for an Instagram live. But like, that's the reality, right? And so when you're living with that every day, I come to these places where I'm like, especially healers, oh man, sometimes we're the worst at taking care of ourselves, and to prioritize that, right?
Yeah.
So I know we don't have a ton of time today. I totally agree with what Crystal is saying here, the Creation Cafe. Nutritionists need to work hand in hand with doctors, especially, yes, they get so little real true education and training in that area. That's not their specialty.
No.
Which is wild, because like, it is so foundational to our health, but to work hand in hand with the nutritionist is so, so key in our health. Okay. So tell me this before we wrap up today, do you have any upcoming events or specials going on? What can I put in this post? What do you want people to know about that you're offering or doing right now?
There's always something.
Yay.
But I just got off a meeting with my Harmonize Her women. So Chef Andrea, she goes by the Holistic Chef, and then Cafe Creations Crystal. And we do mind body health, and we go big into hormone health, cycle syncing, if you're familiar with that. So we have something coming up after the New Year's. We know that's when New Year's resolutions are hot, but we want you to reach your goals in a way that is not dieting. So we try to educate you in the best way to support you. So it becomes, the why is deeper rooted than just weight loss. So that's coming up. My website, you can always connect with me to work with me if you want to do that.
It's that a retreat? Sorry.
Oh,
what is that in January?
It's actually going to be a series.
Okay.
So it'll be a session, 4-part series, and it'll be every Wednesday in February. And we're going to hit different parts of hormone health and cycle syncing. So I get to be the one teaching all the nutrition stuff, and Chef Andrea is going to show you how to implement it by being in the kitchen with you.
So cool.
Oh, I love those women, but
I do too. You know that.
You know them.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up in February. So if you have New Year's resolutions, but you want to do it in a loving way this time and deeper root your why and intention, then join us. So that'll be coming up. We're going to be promoting that soon. But my website, if you want to do one-on-ones, it's www.eatcleanbewhole.com. That's also my Instagram tag. But yeah, there's always something in the works.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for taking some of your time out of your busy schedule to chat with us today. I feel so blessed. You offer such a beautiful specialty that is so needed right now. That connection back to our source, that connection to, I mean, just the idea in general of sustainable health, right?
Yes.
I know that's really something you care about and you're passionate about, and I appreciate it so much. Yep, there's Julie. We all love you so much, Kihiki. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to chat with us. I'm going to be posting this and these offerings coming up as well in the post, and some of the awesome tips. If you didn't hear it, watch it later, because these tips are amazing, and I'm going to be listening to it myself. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Go thrive.
Yay. Go thrive. Be healthy. Love it. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.